report on this computer. And okay, so to answer your question about how to do the presentations, there's the video that I just shared. It's here on the YouTube list. You can get to it from the YouTube links on week 2. Okay, but the short and sweet of this is if I'm like looking at the, let's see, let's go back to the announcements. And let's go to the, oh, we don't have the signups yet. Okay, let me go to the, I haven't done the signups yet. I usually do that on Monday so that we have that all in one place. But if you're a week 2 person, okay, and you're looking for what to do, okay, homework presenters. Okay, so this module right here, it says week 2 homework support presenters. It'll walk you through what you need to do, okay. It says post your tutorial to this module by Wednesday of next week. And in order to do the presentation, though, you're probably wondering, well, where do I actually find the problem? Okay, let me go back. So on the homework sign up, let me just go to one of those. Do you know what group you're in, Jogo?
Yes. I think we group 4.
Group 4. Okay, I'll pick up group 4 just so that it's consistent. All right, so looks like you, let me see you. You're down here somewhere, probably. Let me see if I can find you. Oh, you're not here. Well, in any case, maybe I missed you some. Oh, anyways, week 2, right, is problems 13 through 15. And this, if you follow this right here, okay, so this right here, I'll put this in the chat too, so you can just see it in case you can't see my screen, okay? So this week 2 quiz access, chapters 1 and 12, problems 13 through 15 is what you're going to do the presentation on. So if I go to that, the way how I would get there, or how you might get there, is if you go to, let's see, you would first go to this McGraw-Hill Connect. Go to your textbook effectively. Your access may look a little bit different than mine, but I'm going to go to my textbook. Let me find the textbook. Okay. Actually, no, this is always a little confusing. Let me go back here. Okay, so I wanted to go in as a student view. Now I can do this right. Okay, so you're going to see this introducing financial statements and corporations. That's chapter 1 through 12. And you're going to go to quiz access. All right, this right here is where you're going to go. And you're going to open that up. Okay, and then you're going to go to problem 13 through 15. So you'll notice that there's these little links on here between 13, 14, and 15. That means that they're a combined problem. They're like a sequential problem. And so you'd go to 13 and you'd work through this problem however you want. You can do it either, take screenshots of this and fill in the information. You can use an Excel file and fill in the information. You can do this presentation however you want. However, I recommend that you just do it from this screen right here. And so you would start to fill in this income statement based on the knowledge you have gained from the reading. And so first you're going to put in the date. You're going to identify what the date is. And so for an income statement, it's the month ending December 31st. You're going to identify that the top part of your income statement is revenues. Your second part is going to be expenses, okay? And you're going to walk your fellow students through filling out this problem and completing it. You're going to take this information, you're going to fill it all in, and then you're going to do the same thing for 14. You're going to go to 14. This will be a statement of retained earnings that you have to do. Then you're going to go to 15. You're going to do the balance sheet. And then when you're done explaining how to do these problems, 13, 14, and 15, then you're going to finish out by doing check my work. And you only get 3 times of this. So you probably want to go in here at least once and give it a shot. Or you can just walk through it like you normally would. There's no real right way of doing this, but you check your work. and oh, this one says my answer is not complete. So there might be something wrong with this. Of course, I didn't fill it out. And so you would help the students figure out what the problem was, and then resubmit and see if you got it right. I would recommend that if you've done this twice and you don't quite have it right, just contact me and I'll help you out. But otherwise, once you finish out this problem, then you would submit the recording of this, which I forgot to say at the beginning. You want to do a recording of this. So you might use Zoom, for example, to record you're working through this, or some people use Loom. Other people might use, what else have I seen? Sometimes YouTube, videos of this. So any form that you want to record your presentation, you're welcome to do that. And then once you do that, then you come back into your modules. And in the case for week two is right down here. You would come to the homework presentations, chapter 1 and 12. You click on that, and then you would submit in your group the presentation. And you just hit reply, it tells you what to do, right? Make a reply post, which you do one of the following: ask a question, and then you just submit your recording, right? Study the content, analyze the problem, plan your tutorial, create the tutorial, upload the video, post your recording, and then respond to any questions. You have that twice for the semester. You sign up twice, and it's a big part of your score, so you don't want to miss these. And I think that's about it. Any other questions?
It's okay. It's okay. When I'll have a challenge, I'll still get back to you.
Okay. Yeah, feel free to just drop me an email, and I will respond and help you through that. But otherwise, the other video will help you through, very similar to how I did it, but probably a little bit more succinctly or more logically.
It's all the video already. Yes, I think it's just the question 15 that I don't know anything about yet. Question 15.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I said it is just the question 15. I think I don't really know anything about.
Oh, okay. So question
That's right.
15 is I think the balance sheet, if I remember seeing it right. Yeah, the balance sheet. So you just have to read about the balance sheet, how to construct a balance sheet in your textbook, and it should be pretty straightforward. I'll give you a quick little primer here on this one. Let's see, return the question. On the balance sheet, you're going to end up having a date, right? So balance sheets are always as of a particular date. You're going to have an asset side on one place, and you're going to have liabilities on the other, as well as equity right here. Okay, and then you're going to take this information up here that's associated with assets, liabilities, and equity, and you're going to drop it in, and you're going to make sure that the balances match, right? So if this side says $50,000, this side needs to say $50,000. As if it doesn't, then you're out of balance, and you need to figure out where the problem is. Mostly in here, you're going to find that these, let's see, these first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These first 5 are going to be asset accounts. Then you have a liability account, and this is an equity account. Cash dividends is also an equity account. And depending on if they have in here retained earnings or other stuff, you may have to do with these other things. But you'll find that out as you walk through the book on how to construct the balance sheet.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Any other questions? Okay, well, I probably covered this pretty well in the introduction. Let's see, go back. Not that one. In the week 1 introduction, in this semester overview, I covered a lot of topics in this that are very helpful. But let me just go back to the channel, actually the videos. See if I can find those. You'll find lots and lots of content in these playlists. So, for example, as we get closer to week 5, I can find week 5. I think week 5 is when we do the exam, the first exam. And so you'll find some exam related information in here to help you get prepped for it. You'll also find some information like on chapter 3, which is right after the exam. And so most of these, they range in size from 5 to 10 minutes to sometimes, like in this exam 1 tips, 25 minutes, right? So they they range in size. These are from prior semesters when students have had questions about things, and I've done videos for them, posted on here so everybody else can view it. So that's one thing I would say. If you ever have a question, you want me to work through something or work through, a concept that's not here in the videos, then I will most definitely create another video and just drop it in there for you to utilize. Okay. Let's see. Annie, do you have a question?
I don't.
Okay. Let's see. Let me see if I can walk through a couple of the frequently asked questions that I get. One would be what Jogo already questioned, how do I do the presentation? So that's usually one of the first questions. Well, the second might be something associated with, oh, let's see. I've got most of them already taken care of here. Let's see. Let's go over to the announcements just real quick. Oh, one thing, I do post announcements at least once a week. I'll do that on a Saturday for any of the activities coming up in the future. Those are almost always videos. I'm a student at BYU as well. I take classes from time to time, and I don't necessarily appreciate just reading stuff. I just, I don't mind watching a video and picking up some information, because sometimes I can give you more information in a video than I can actually write out. So that's why I post a lot of videos, and I give you links to the information so that you have that available. So please make sure you refer to the announcements from time to time if you have questions, because you can do a search in here. Let's say I wanted to understand what the presentations are, who's the assignments. I don't have anything here, but let's say, let me pull up a prior semester and get a feel for that. So if I go to all courses and the classes that I've taught before, so let's go to fall 2023. So like at some point when I go to the announcements in here and I type in presentation, then it's going to give me a couple different announcements where I have given instructions to the students, and you'll get similar instructions as we go along, because it's just easy to provide that here, and that way you get direction. So oftentimes if I hear a variety of questions coming up, I'll just post an announcement. Instead of just responding to one person, I'll respond to all, so that you have a kind of an up-to-date view of what's going on on questions. So that's one thing, the announcements. On the syllabus, one thing that people often miss is related to the quizzes. And this is often a big issue even as we get through the semester, is that there is a 2-step process on the quizzes. You have to pass the quiz access, this first one, with an 85% or more in order to take the quiz. And so one thing I've often reminded students is, don't wait to the very last minute, on whatever it happens to be, let's say Saturday, when the quiz is due. Don't wait till last minute to take the quiz access, because if you don't pass the quiz access, you might get locked out of taking the quiz, okay? Because the quiz might, let's say you're taking it at midnight. Well, if you just pass the quiz access at midnight, then you try to go to the quiz, well, the quiz is now past due and you're locked out. And I don't accept late assignments, and so you won't be able to take that quiz. So effectively, Each quiz is worth 100 points. If you miss miss one of them, you're either 100 points out or 200 points out. You don't want to do that. So take these well ahead of time before the deadline, and that way you can get at least an 85% score on the quiz access, and then move over to the quiz and complete that. One thing I do, which I don't is not necessarily referred to here, I do have the discretion, which I take every semester. Any student that gets an 85% or more on the quiz access will automatically get 100% on the quiz access. So I will go back and I'll adjust the quiz access score from, let's say it's 87%, I'll take it to 100%. So it's really, really important to get that quiz access passed so that you can hit the quiz and get, a nice overall score there. Any other workload? Yeah, late work. I probably emphasized this too much last semester, and I'm going to try to de-emphasize it. I'm only going to say it once or twice at the beginning. Late work is not accepted. And just remember, this isn't really me that put this syllabus together. Syllabus was developed by the BYU, Idaho, and I just follow it. And I have very, very few cases where I extend. As I mentioned before, it has to be something pretty extreme, something completely out of your control. And that typically has some implications for like students in Africa or other areas where electricity or the internet is unreliable. I expect the students of all places to make sure that they have a reliable electricity and reliable internet in order to take the class, because you really can't afford to get behind in this class. If you do, then it just stacks up and you become more and more frustrated, and you never catch up, and you're always behind, and you just won't pass the class. So basic rule of thumb is you got to be on top of everything from the get-go or ahead, right? So you need to start, if you have those types of issues, when you run into electricity issues from time to time, then you need to work 3 to 5 days ahead so that you can always mitigate that issue. All right, let's see. No extra credit. I often get asked questions even halfway through the class. Is there a way I can get extra credit? The answer is no. There's assignments, you get the grade for those assignments, and that's it. Otherwise, the pattern of the class is pretty straightforward. Generally you have let's look at something like this. You have, it kind of shifts a little bit. So you usually have, here we go, like chapter studies, like textbook work, that happens by Wednesday. And then you have your quizzes and stuff, financial statement analyses on a Saturday. The only time that starts to shift is when the exams come into play. And then the exams might be like on a Wednesday, and then everything else shifts out. So you might have your homework assignments due and your reading assignments due by Saturday, and then your quizzes and financial statement analysis due on a Wednesday. So there's a little bit of a shift there from time to time. You just have to be cognizant of it. And you'll usually see that here. Let's see, I'm in the wrong semester. So let me go to the right semester. So you'll usually see that in what's coming up, right? And what you have to do. So for example, right now I have some grading to do on the icebreakers, but you'll also see on here what's coming up, and you can pay attention to what you might have to, do in the next, I think it's usually like a 3 to 5, about 3 day heads up. Let's see, any other questions that usually come up? Textbook is no longer usually a problem to get access to. This one's usually an issue, Proctorio. I would say probably 2 handfuls, about 10 to 15 people have regular issues with Proctorio. And it's usually because they don't have a stable internet. And so you have to make sure that if you're in those cases where internet's kind of in and out for your area, that you find a place where you have stable internet for the duration of your exams. It's the only time that it comes up. But they want to make sure that you are who you are and that you're not cheating when you're doing the exam. And so they have this proctored exam process that you have to work through. And that effectively means you have to have
Extension.
an extension. Thank you, Annie.
Mhm.
Yeah, have an extension enabled. You have to have that running when you're taking the exam. And so I get a lot of questions sometimes throughout the semester about, Brother Lewis, my exam is asking for a access code or a password. Will you please give it to me? Well, I can't, because the reality is that your Proctorio extension is not working. And so you have to fix that in order for you to get to the exam. And fixing that means that you go through basically the help process. You may have to re-download Proctorio, or you may have to contact Proctorio directly and have them help you through getting it corrected. So there is in the in the exams themselves. Let me just show you that.
It also can be as simple as just updating your browser, which was
Yeah.
my problem last semester.
I know, it's the craziest thing. And it's not reliable. Sometimes they will make an update to Proctorio and you don't know about it. And and it's just, as Annie said, just a simple update to the extension and you're done. But what you'll find is in these exams, there's the instructions up on top. Let's see. And as you scroll down, it'll walk you through if you're having technical difficulties, right? So this technical support for Proctorio is your first bet and most likely bet for how to get that resolved. Sometimes there's other issues and the testing center can help you out, but understand that they're only open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So it's kind of a tricky to get them to help you out. And I'm sort of your last resort because I can help in some situations, but I'm not necessarily always the best technical support. And so if it's something I can help with after you've dealt with Proctorio and whatnot, I will. But almost always, I'd say 95% of the time, it's an issue with Proctorio. Okay. Let's see, any other frequently asked questions that usually come up? Let's scan through this real quick. One thing to note, the ethics assignments, they'll be coming up in, I think it's week 8 and week 14. These are worth a lot of points as well from a weighted standpoint. And so they're super important to get done. And I find that the students sometimes don't quite read the instructions enough to get it right the first time. You usually have a couple of times to get it right, but I think you want to get it done right the first time. So let's see, was it week 8? I forget which week it was on. No, it was, what did it say? Where was that? Ethics assignment is, oh, did they move it? Okay. Where was that? It says week 8 and week 14, right? Ethics assignment. Oh, I'm not sure what that means. Okay, well, let's just see if we can find it. Five, it wouldn't be there. 7 is an exam, so it wouldn't be there. Week 8. Week,
8 and 14. That's what the syllabus says.
I know, it is what the syllabus says, doesn't it? Maybe they've changed the assignment grouping. So let me just check my assignments real quick and see. Because I usually put some help in here to make sure that everybody can get this pretty close to right the first time. I don't expect you to have it perfectly right the first time. It's in week 6. Look at that, not week 8. I'll go change the syllabus. It's in week 6 and week 11. Anyway, so this is my special note to everybody, right? I give you pretty much a lockstep process for getting this done. You know, if it's worth, what is this worth one? This one's worth 40 points. If it's worth 40 points, you should be able to get somewhere around 30 to 32 points right off the bat. And then you may have to do it one other time just to kind of fine tune a specific calculation or a specific number. But I find a lot of people, if they follow this process, they get almost 40 points right off the bat. And so I've given you a document to the template that I've prepared that follows this format. In fact, if you click on it, it'll open it up and you can download it. It's in a Word file, so you might have to convert it to Google if you don't have Word. But you know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraph type of an approach. All you got to do is fill in the blanks and make it happen. So the hardest part about it is just figuring out how to solve the problem, but usually you can refer back to the book and help yourself through that. So week 6, week 11, make sure you just follow those this kind of lockstep process right here. This is my help to you to make this as easy as possible. Okay, and there's 2 of these that come up. All right, that usually is a little bit of a booger to get through. And I think that's it. Those are usually the biggest issues that come up throughout the semester, other than just the learning. And the learning is pretty hard. And that's why you have to kind of stay up on top of it and not get behind, because it'll be like an avalanche if you don't get it going and stay up to date. Okay, any other questions? Annie?
I have a question.
Yeah, Joe.
Okay, please. About the reading, like when they said chapter 1, so we have to cover all the readings there.
Yep. Chapter 1, yeah, the first week, well, week 2, right? Week 2, your
Yes,
chapter 1 and chapter 12. Okay. And the readings are part of these modules. So when you click on this, it'll take you over to, let me take you back over here. Actually, back to the student view. So it'll take you to these smart book exercises, right? So you're usually going to, this is the smart book exercises. So you do the reading for it beforehand. So you start your reading, right? This is all the reading associated with it. You're going to read through this, and then you're going to go to the questions, right? And you're going to work through the questions associated with that reading. You need to read back up on it again. You'll read it and then go back to the question. Okay. And on all of these, I think you can do this as many times as you want until you get 100%. There's no limit. The only limit to the number of tries you have is on the quiz and on the exam. The quiz, you only have 3 tries, and the exam, you have 1 try. Jogo, did that answer your question?
yes, thanks.
You bet. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so it's kind of funky how they set this up. You have chapter 1 and chapter 12, and then you go on to chapters, I think it's 2 and 3. Yeah, 2, then 3. There's 2. No, 2 and then 11. So it's like 1, 12, 2, 11, and then you take an exam. Then you do something like, I don't know, 3, 4. Yeah, then you go 3. Oh, no, it's 3, 6. So you kind of skip around a little bit at first, but then it gets into the normal routine of 4 or 5. Then you go to 7 and work through the rest of the chapters. Okay. Annie, any questions?
Nope, I'm good. I'm sure I will be bugging you though in the next couple of weeks when it's
That
into creating everything.
absolutely. That's one other thing I probably don't stress enough, and I probably should. I'll do it right now. If you want to bug me, please do. And if you feel
Okay.
like you need to bug me every 5 minutes, feel free to. If because I kind of take the approach, the ask and you shall receive type of approach from a learning standpoint, not necessarily from an extension of due date standpoint, but from a learning standpoint. If you ask, I will give you as much information as I can and guidance as I can. I may not answer your question directly because some people want me to solve their problem. Just give them the answer. I won't give you the answer, but I'll help you frame the approach to the answer so that you can say, I mean, it may like be you're struggling with how to create the formula, right? I may say, well, it's A plus B equals C. That's the formula. All you got to do is figure out what A is, what B is, and what C is. And even then, I'll tell you, well, A might be, let's say, assets equals liabilities plus equity, right? I'll give you
Right.
that, and I may even help you fill in the gaps here or there, but I won't complete it all for you. So you still have to go out and at least figure out that one or two components of it.
Teach us
Um,
how to fish. Don't give us a fish.
yeah, that's generally the approach. Sometimes I might just break down after, I see that you're just not getting it. I'll say, okay, here's the process. Here's where you get the information. Now, hopefully that will help you out. Or I'll refer you to usually a video that I've done on it. So, because that may explain it sometimes a little bit more long-windedly, because I'm not exactly short of words sometimes. But if it's better to watch the video and work through it with me, then that might help you more than me just trying to explain it to you verbally.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then I usually have these Zoom calls every Thursday. There might be some occasions where I have to cancel it. The only time I cancel it permanently is if I find that nobody's attending the calls. And at that point, I'll just say, thank you, everybody. I recognize you have busy lives as well. So if you have any information, if you have any questions though, just because I'm not having office hours doesn't mean I'm not answering questions. I wake up pretty early in the morning, usually about 5. I get started with my day. Usually while I'm drinking my morning lemon ginger juice, I will be looking at any of the inbox emails from the students, see if there's anything I can answer immediately right then. If I can't, if it's going to be a longer question that I need to answer, then I'll usually defer it to when I take a lunch. And then I'll come and I'll look at it again, see if I can answer it then. If I can't answer it then, I most certainly will answer it in the evening. So you should have, within a 24-hour period of time, a response from me on a question that you've asked. Although, forgive me if I go to bed at 9-ish and you're still working at 10 or 11 and I don't answer the question until the next morning. And hopefully that doesn't impede your ability to finish out an assignment because I do get my rest.
I think
But
you're allowed. I think you're allowed.
well, we try, but I do have some students trying to get a hold of me at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night just before an assignment's due. I'm like, sorry, that's my off hours. I am out like a light. My wife can't even wake me up at that time, so she has to jump up and down and scream just to get my attention. I don't even know if a burglar could wake me up at that time, so I'm out.
Well, when you get up at 5, that's totally fair. I work at the courts, so I'm very 9 to 5-ish.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it'll be fine.
I'm even that way at work. I'm a 6:30 to 3:30 guy. That's when I usually deal with clients on the East Coast. So I'm up and available for them, but once they're done, I'm done. And so yeah, that's the way it works.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. I don't think there's any other wisdom I can impart unless you have questions. So I think we're about done. You good?
All right. I think we're great.
All right. Well, thank you, Jogo. Thank you very much. I'm sure it's what is it, 3:30, 4:30 in the morning for you?
Yes, 3:43.
All right. Well, you were up earlier than me. So hope you have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.